Hello, hello, and welcome to today's show. Glad to see everybody filed in as the intro was going. It's always a weird wonder in the morning when you send links out and start trying to get your show going, and then all of the sudden, for like 5 minutes, nobody's there. Wait, what did I do wrong? Is Twitter messing with me? Is YouTube messing with me? How do I get people to know I'm live? Well, I'm live the same time. Every time. Well, damn close to the same time. So how is everybody today? We have some people in the chat, some regulars like Data and Trez and Lacey. We got Bullwinkle, who's becoming a new regular. We got A&W. Today's his first day hanging out in my chat. I hope he enjoys the bot interaction. It is possibly annoying, possibly fun. Can certainly be entertaining. Dark Sasuke isn't here, but her personal favorite is the eggplant punch emojis. Nice to see you as well, A&W. Let me go ahead and do some behind the scenes here. And while I'm doing behind the scenes, in the lower right hand corner, a few people have already seen this. But if you haven't, I got bored last night and created a new Last Supper. A more appropriate Last Supper, I think. I think completing your dinner would make it your last. Well, with that said, let's roll the board.
Welcome to the Great Debate.
Don't you just love that dick punch emoji? All right. I may have a guest joining me. I did send Full Metal Joker the link because he enjoys the show so much he hit me up this morning. I will encourage anybody in here, if you do enjoy the show and haven't been on in a while or haven't been on at all, send me a message in Discord or on Twitter and I will set you up with a show and we'll have you on for an hour. It's usually pretty fun for the guests, but when there are no guests, as my chat loves to know, they get to pick the topic and I will just start rambling. That could go good or bad. That's to be determined depending on what topic it is and how much I have to ramble about. Which A&W, is it A-N-W or just aw? Type in Discord in the chat. And oh no, Nightbot already did it. See, if you look up, just hop in my Discord. In fact, you know what I'll do? I'll be real nice here. Where is it? I will also sit in the Great Debate Room, and we will see what happens first. All right. Nobody's choosing a topic yet, and since I got hit, no Discord either. Ooh. Well, A&W. Aw. A&W root beer. Okay, so A&W. What social media platform do you prefer? If you type it in there, into the chat, and I have it, it will give you the link to get to me at it. And then just tell me where so I can go look. Toys it is! Is that the first one that came up? Let me double check. Yes, toys. Should older toys, books, and games be handed down generation to generation? Oh, this one could be tough. Okay, so we all know that there's the toys that we had as kids that are perfectly safe, like maybe the wooden blocks. But are they? Tech then. And yeah, I think I get it now also, LOL. I just got this. Oh, okay. Tell you what, A&W, if you're new to all this, take your time. If you need help with anything, the people in my Discord, if you do join Discord, are pretty helpful and nice most of the time. I think about this sometimes, and I try to relate this to from my perspective because obviously I'm the one here right now. So we have toys in our house that are handed down to our kids from us, and then some of those toys that were from us are from our parents, and it seems like those are the ones that hand down the best. Some of the toys my kids have, there's no way they're getting handed down to their kids because they're not going to last that long. They're just not the quality. But my wife, as a kid, grew up in the Midwest, out in Illinois. I don't know if that's the Midwest, but Illinois area. And she had toys like this big green John Deere metal tractor. Not something I gave my kids until they were like 3 or 4, because it's one of those tractors where if you accidentally hit yourself with it, it's going to hurt. It is metal. I want to say it's like iron and steel with a couple aluminum parts on there, but not much because almost nothing bends. It's a tough little tractor and a tough little wagon. So tough, my 60 pound, 50, almost 60-pound daughter can literally put her entire body weight on it and it will hold it. And this is a kid's toy. So there's that question. It is a formidable, indestructible toy for a child. However, it is a formidable, destructible component in a child's hand. No, see, and I was getting there. You get into some of the older toys, and you find out that some of the toys made in like between the 40s and 60s still contain chemicals, including the lead paint that was used to put on these toys. Other toys, I want to say there was a ban put on in the late 80s. Data usually corrects me this if he knows. I want to say there was a ban in the late 80s from certain countries importing their toys because of the paint that was used on the toys causing developmental issues. It was lead paint and other things like that. Plus, there was an issue in the 90s about a new paint product that came out that apparently chipped off the toys very quickly. And there was a ban put out on that type of paint used on kids' toys. So yeah, you do run into the issue of hand-me-down toys still might have these things that new toys aren't allowed to have or aren't permitted to use in the construction of them. But yeah, older toys are built to last. Yeah, and some old toys are worth money. I keep trying to convince my son, who has some packaged items, that, leave them in the package for 10 or 20 years, hand them down to your kids, have your kids put it on a shelf, and maybe if you happen to look things up, you'll realize that, oh crap, I got all 8 of an 8-piece set from 40 years ago. It starts to accrue a little bit of value because you got it. Other than that, some controversy, I'm moving on past toys to the books, some controversy has come up on how children's books can be racist, sexist, or be molding kids to be inappropriate towards other people based on what they read as a child. And I don't believe that 100%. Yeah, some of it could be. But I read this book when I was a kid about these 5 Chinese brothers. And I thought it was a cool book because of the story premise. It wouldn't have mattered if they were Chinese or if they were American or Canadian or Mexican. That wouldn't have been an issue to me. It didn't matter. I was a kid. I was a kid brought up on it didn't matter where you were from or what you looked like. It mattered the person you were and how you treated how you treated people in the character you had. So that's what's important to me. So books is an issue for some people, but others, I would rather them be exposed to all the books so they can make their own decision. Let the kid read the book about the Chinese brothers, and let the kid read the book about the mother that's not really a ghost just because she wears a black robe all the time. I think both of those books are equally important, and handing them down is good so long as you offer the context of the book to your kid. It's like it's a book. Not all books depict real life. Some books tell a story, and it's the story that you want to be after. Books, though, sure, that's a part of our history, and with censoring Nibajim taking out but yeah, yep, Huck Finn. I actually liked some of these books when I was younger, and I was raised that the color of a person's skin is really just a describing character to pick them out of a crowd. if you look at a whole bunch of Chinese men and one guy happens to have a long nose, that's how you pick him out of the crowd. If you look at a crowd of people and very few people are black, that color of their skin is a factor of who they are to describe them if you want to pick them out of a crowd. And that is really the only thing that skin color is to me. I do understand this whole argument about IQ scaling and developmental features, abilities, and everything, and I understand that. And these are from handed down attributes to the areas these people lived in and the way that they evolved to live in the area they lived in. And as people move around, these evolutions are going to start to spread and meld again, and soon you'll get tall, smart, half black Asians. I see it coming. So there's the issue of being okay with it. And then let's move on to games. Yes. Yes. Games should be handed down. I really hate when they change old games and make them new. It bothers me when they eliminate features. Games used to be built more thoroughly to encompass a lot of thought and belief in the game. They had more parts, they had more structure to them. Now games have been so simplified and made so easy that it's not as much fun. There's not as much in it. I kind of lose the want and desire to play through the game because it loses that full structure of it to me. For instance, what do I have on my shelf? Oh, here's a big one, Monopoly. Monopoly took out more than half of the currency in the game. So instead of being able to buy things for like $415, now you're buying things for like $800 or $900, and there's no 15. It's all by 100, 50, and 500. I don't think that's great. Trying to eliminate some of these things to make the game easier and quicker to play through doesn't make the game more fun to play. It simplifies it, and in simplifying, you're taking away some of the fun I had. I believe everything should be handed down. In conclusion, everything should be handed down. It's just think about what you're doing. You want to make sure that you're explaining context to your children, not with the things that you hand down, but so the things you hand down fall in to where you want your kids to see them, where the belief structure in your family or how you want to raise your kids falls. Yeah, apparently I got boring there. Sorry, guys. What would you like next? Somebody had a selection. Where did it go? Or throw it in chat again. I think you had tech. AW had tech somewhere. Games are fun. I think older games are more fun because they were more thought through. They didn't concern themselves as much with cutting out pieces to save money but sell the game for the same price. So Monopoly doesn't have the houses and hotels anymore, I don't think. They cut the number of them out of the box. They cut down the number of currencies. They cut down a few other things. But, oh, look, we offered a new game piece. Also, things like Risk, they took out some of the pieces in the game and they changed them and they made it... Maybe it's just nostalgia. But again, this is my perspective. Alright. So, I think it was tech that was chosen. I'm trying to find it to see if I'm right or if I'm just losing my mind. I'll go with both if that's the case. I think we'll go with tech. I was listening to a stream, and the Fermi paradox is there life out there. I think I worded this wrong. I was listening to a stream about the Fermi paradox. Is there life out there? Okay, so I've been waiting for this one to be picked. I've been having conversations about this. Trez remembers from last night, and I think Saki does as well. I'm looking into this whole Fermi paradox. So let me backtrack a little. everybody knows that we've seen aliens, or the possibility of the existence of aliens. So, hello, Joker.
Yeah, I'm sorry for showing up late. My internet dropped right as I was in the middle of doing something, and it after waiting on the line, I couldn't get in touch with the phone company, but I noticed my internet finally started back up.
Did that to me yesterday for like 5 minutes, 3 or 5 minutes. I lost internet. So, okay, let me quickly get through my ramble. I don't know if everybody knows about all of these things, but there's what's called the Drake equation. And the Drake equation is basically a mathematical formula that tries to explain the possibility or the abundance of the existence of life in the universe. It goes through, I want to say, 7 different mathematical computations about whether the planet can provide life, how far it is from the sun, whether the life is intelligent, whether it's exceeded a certain level. And you take all of that into account, and it says that, hey, we should be surrounded by alien life. We should be receiving signals by now from somewhere, from someone. And at the same time, we're not. Or we're told that there's not. So we either believe the government that there's nothing there, or we keep looking at this. Now let's keep look at this. The Fermi paradox was something apparently that was come to a conclusion on a lunch break. We're working on something else, that if this is the possibility, if the numbers are so exponential that there should be life, why isn't there? And I want to say the Fermi paradox is partly swayed by the time that we live in right now, and the warring and the turmoil and the indecisiveness of all the nations and everybody involved. So take all of that into account, and the Fermi paradox says that there hits a point in existence where people are able to, where the civilization is able to kill itself off entirely, or work through that ability and be able to surpass, and then they could start to explore. Again, you got to remember that people are gonna, not every civilization or society is going to grow at the same rate in the same direction. Some could grow faster, some could grow slower. Some could have lesser access to the same resources we have because of the way their planet was formed, or because of lack of asteroid hits, or things like that. So there's all sorts of possibilities, but the Fermi paradox is one explanation. Alright, Bullwinkle said time. That's another problem, and that's something that Saki and I were going at for a while last night talking about, and there's the time dilation. So we know there's a planet 4.1 light years away that could have the possibility of supporting life on it. If we send somebody to that planet at the speed of light, which we cannot do, they will get there in 4.1 years. Then, if they relay a message or return, their message returns in 4.1 years. So then you're looking at 8 to 9 years between the launch of and the return of any information before you can make a decision. That's 9 years. And we can't even do that. Now, take this into account. The universe is expanding, and the expansion of the universe hasn't slowed, hasn't rebounded, and the rubber band theory hasn't taken effect. So, when you take into account that the universe is growing and the growth of the universe is growing, there will come a point where the distance between something is not feasibly, you can't transport that distance and back or do anything across that span because it hits such a great distance. Where do I go from here? So the Fermi paradox is what I want to talk about. This one basically says that people hit a point where they have the ability to destroy themselves and have to figure out how not to. Any thoughts, Joker, or have I lost you?
No. Yeah, I understand it. It's kind of like with when we discovered the technology of nukes. So what did we do to keep from destroying each other in the process? We developed the MAD treaty.
Oh, I got a new visitor in the chat. We got Argoyle Gargoyle. This is assuming that they all have aurial communication. I'm going to have to look at that, but I'm assuming that aurial communication is our known standard of communication, which is all communication is a wave, and all waves travel at the speed of light. Therefore, any transmission travels at the speed that light travels, and if you travel... Let me stop there and see if I'm
And
right
I
before.
was, I was waiting. I was waiting for you to talk about that because, what if what if the so-called alien species, they're trying to communicate with us, but they have developed some sort of faster than light communication, and we're not there yet. So we're over here saying, "Hello, how are you?" And they're sending a message back going, "Yeah, I'm fine. Let's meet up." But we have
Bullwinkle,
no way
I need to
to
correct you there.
connect.
Sound waves travel at the speed of light. Sound does not travel at the speed of light.
Yeah.
A sound wave travels at the speed of light. Sound does not travel at the speed of light. Welcome back, Bronner. It's called folding. The ability to travel faster than the speed of light. It's theoretical, but imagine you take a piece of paper and you want to get from one side to the other. In universe folding, I forget the exact name of the theory, instead of traversing the distance across the paper, what you do is identify the other end of the paper, and you fold it to the point where the point where you're at and the point where you want to be meet.
I.e. finding the way to use things like wormholes and stuff.
Right. Which we're not
because
even there
wormholes
in
do
technology
exist.
yet.
Wormholes do exist in space, but they only last for short periods of time. And you know what? If you don't get to the other side before it closes, you are screwed.
DS9, thank you for watching a lot of it for us. We appreciate that. M-theory has never provided anything after 30 years of scribbling formula and equations. Again, remind me which one M-theory is, because I read so many. I had to look up Fermi Paradox 4 times yesterday trying to talk about it, and I had already had it on the board since the middle of last week. So, string theory is now called M-theory. Okay, now I understand. Okay. String theory, that's the folding of the universe, that every point is that every point is infinite and everywhere, and that you should be able to traverse this large space because there's nothing there, and it's really a lot more complex than that. But I want you to think about being on the planet. There is no way for me to instantaneously right now go from here to the other side of the planet. I can't fold it, I can't squeeze it, I can't do it, which is why the concept is so hard for me to believe that you can fold space, which is much vaster than this planet. But hey, I'm just a guy sitting at a chair behind a computer.
Well, and also there's another theory, but if it's not done right, there is major repercussions about breaking a living or inanimate object down to subatomic particles, and from point A and point B, there's a receiver.
Right.
Which puts you back together.
And data put it in there. This is the belief. Okay, so there's two atoms that once connected still act connected, even if the atoms are separated. And you notice there's ways to see that actions on one that affect the other. However, how do you use, what is it, molecular theory, to traverse large spaces? How do you plan how that all works? One day we may understand so much more, but right now we're not there. Right now, and here's the thing, trying to understand this and messing with the science of all of this could be what destroys us. Does that make sense? We are
Yeah.
trying so hard to push the boundaries and see what we can learn and see how far we can go that we literally create acoustic black holes couple hundred times a year on a regular basis to study them. We create
Luckily,
um, nuclear. What is the explosion done at CERN where they split atoms and by smashing them at the speed of light? I forget what that is, but this could, if done wrong, have cataclysmic outcomes. We have nuclear power generators around the planet that if something went wrong, we'd all die. We have enough missiles to destroy ourselves how many hundreds of times over? And we're here, but just about anything could set us over that edge. And is that the reason why we haven't seen anybody? That's the Fermi paradox. It's not about being a Trekkie, it's about being a techie. Sorry, Trez. Well, since you're here now, you can pick another topic for us to go over.
Okay, well, let's see. School.
School's ever so popular, and my kids are there, so I'm happy. A suggestion to classes is to have more structured learning based on types of learning, VOTEC instead of books. Thoughts?
Yeah, I've been wanting to talk to people about it. Yeah, the education system. Yeah, we need to focus less on a one-way type of learning, because it seems to be that since everybody has a certain way to learn that it sticks, that there should be different types of learning depending on depending on how you learn.
Yes. I did go to a VOTEC school in high school. I did have the ability to take half-day courses. VOTEC, let's break this down. VOTEC to me, where I live, VOTEC is a course structure that sits you down with the work that you're learning. So me, I did computer-aided design and drafting. So it sat me down into a top-of-the-line computer with the newest, best programs, with a teacher telling me how to use the program to learn through it. And if I'd have sat down with a book to do that, I wouldn't have been able to. But that's computers. Let's say construction, baking, cosmetics. This school literally had a room for every different type of thing you'd want to learn. Data entry, statistical analysis. If there was a class they could afford to give, they gave the class that had all the technology, and you could literally sit there and learn what you were supposed to be doing, almost like you were sitting there doing it as your job.
Hey, I understand that because the high school I went was experimenting with that, and the reason why I signed up, because I fell behind, because hey, I was a special needs person taking all regular classes, so I kind of fell behind. And they went, well, we're trying this out. You could sign up for this program, do whatever courses that you fell behind in, and instead of staying in high school longer than you need to, you can get a couple semesters worth of work done within less than a year. I'm
Yes.
like, I'm down. Okay, cool. So I was in there, and because since I was teaching myself and not sitting there listening to some teacher lecture me on how to do things, I was able to wrap 2 semesters worth of work within a half a semester.
Well, one of the other things I noticed that I thought was really cool about the VOTEC school that I went to, they put a lot of classes in there, not just for people to go, hey, it'd be cool for me to learn how to do Havoc, heating, venting, and air conditioning. It'd be cool to learn how to do basic construction. Those classes were there, So those classes did the havoc work for the building. They did the construction and maintenance on the building. The
Yeah.
data entry courses, they worked on all the paperwork and data entry that the school worked on within the abilities that the students were allowed to see. The courses that happened there integrated the work that needed to be done in the everyday work of the building. The teachers were the guys in charge of making sure things were supposed to get done. The office personnel were just people running a group of students who were learning how to run the office. The budget office was students learning how to do economics and budgets and payroll and things like that. These classes were being taught literal hands-on work. In our design class, every couple of months when something needed to be built by the construction class for the school, a couple people in class would get picked out. Hey, we need you to design this. It would get
And
designed
the more
in
I
our
hear
class.
about
It would go down to the construction class. They would build it. It would go to wherever it was supposed to go because the maintenance crew would take it over. And these were all student classes run by a teacher.
And the more I hear about it, the more I want it to be something that all schools have. Because see, with all schools set up like this, you don't have to when kids can get their job experience while in school. So when they go to the interviewer, they go, well, what kind of experience you have? Well, while I was in school, I did these kind of formats. Here's my paperwork, and here's a couple signatures from a few of the teachers to prove that I did this work that you require me to do.
Right.
So while you're in high school, or say even push it to middle school, you'll have several years worth of experience just by going to school.
Right. Okay, Bullwunky, you might have me there. It might be based on the transmission of sound waves as opposed to generic sound waves. But I was trying to be clear on the difference of transmitting a sound wave versus sound being transmitted. So yes, sound can travel through the air at 750 miles per hour. However, if you transmit a radio wave, which is a sound wave, through the air, that travels at the speed of light. But it is confusing. And I do admit I can be wrong or slightly misguided. But yes, I honestly loved the Votech job. There was a little bit about it that I didn't like because it did take out some of the book learning in the effort to learn how to do the real context of the job. I didn't get all of the, okay, well, here's all the code for federal regulations and our local area regulations on how to do this. It was just, okay, we need it to look like this. Here's a sketch. Draw a plan and put this in the program. Give me a 2D model, give me a 3D model, and then we'll send it over to the next class. That was what it was. We had access to look up building codes and plans, but we really didn't get directed how to or where to go to look at some of that stuff. And then when I went into the college course, I was a little bit lost and didn't do quite as well when it came to the back end of things. So there are ups and downs, I will admit that.
Yeah. But it's a case of we've got to do something because our education system is falling apart.
Okay, signal. Got it, guys. I'm being corrected by my chat. I love it. A radio broadcast is an electric signal, not a sound. However, we could say frequency, because when I say wave, I'm talking about wave frequencies. And light travels at a frequency, sound travels at a frequency. They travel at the speed of light, just the frequency changes, I think. Maybe I'm still confused and I need to shut up. I'm going to shut up now. Who wants to pick the next topic?
Okay, well, the internet. There we go.
The internet. where we all love to sit and play. The internet has grown to be a large world that we mostly know of through Facebook, Google, and YouTube and Twitter. Why?
Mainly because that's what people know. What people know,
Why?
especially since now, because that's all they've ever been taught. That's the key hubs to look for things on the internet.
Trez brings up AOL. AOL was more of an ISP. It's more like connecting in. And the reason it phased out is people got tired of the stuff that you had to go through to deal with AOL. But it was more like your open central hub of going to things, regardless of what it was.
That brings me back.
Doesn't it? Every time I bring up AOL, I get some good nostalgic memories of welcome.
Of getting to see either the CDs or the floppy disks in the mail, where sign up today and you get free X amount of hours.
But everybody wanted to set up a website. It was www.cash.com, www.trees.com, and it seemed like while it was growing and there were so many sites and things to visit at the time, that there still really wasn't much. And they were just getting short URLs, and you'd occasionally get those little strings at the end, or a couple of backslash this, backslash that, .html. And now you don't get that. Now it's so large, you don't even always pay attention to the www.com. You pay attention to, holy crap, there's 130 numbers and letters and slashes at the end of this. There's some question marks and pound signs. There's a couple of underscores. Where is this really taking me? And then you get a redirect page. You go to Facebook, you go to Google, you go to YouTube. These are the big sites. They've grown because they give all their customers everything they can give them. But at the same time, they take away from their customers is way more than they give them. And
yeah,
that was just brought to light again by another Facebook scandal. Google and YouTube continue to mess with creators and people that use their platform. Twitter blocks you for things you say. And the real question is, hold on, I don't mean to keep interrupting, and I apologize. The real question is, if all these sites are so big and they've grown from their practices and how they run, how are they so big when they make all these terrible decisions for the users of the platforms? Why don't we have more of these large sites that compete back and forth with, no, we don't read your information because we don't care. Oh, well, and I'm using you instead of Facebook. Oh, we don't ban people for saying girls or guys. Cool, then I'm off Twitter. Oh, then Twitter will change their rules to make it so now they won't ban people. Now we have competition. Do you see where I'm going with that?
Yep.
They have these rules that anger and annoy most people that use the platforms. And there's other platforms, but these platforms aren't competing with each other anymore.
Yeah, and one thing I have to say, people fussing about all of this, with they're doing this, well, I wasn't surprised when they found out Facebook was data mining or Google was data mining.
I wasn't either. My profiles never had a lot of my own information.
Everything costs, and they say it's free. It's free for you to use. So since they're not paying people to use it, how do you expect them to make enough profit to maintain said business?
And everybody goes back to, well, they get ads. They get ads. Well, look at how fickle ads are. There's other stuff going on.
Also, they've got to make up the costs with people that have ad blockers and whatnot to prevent the ads from showing up and wasting their time. So they've got to have other ways to make money. So
yeah, and there was a law, out here that changed, or a rule or a mandate that changed on whether or not they had to disclose giving your personal information out to other companies. So let me make this clear. I don't pay for Facebook, but Facebook freely shares my information. I pay for my cable, and my cable sells my information just as much, if not more. They sell my information with my name, my phone number, my address.
And this is why when it comes to Facebook and other social media platforms, I give them just enough information to get logged on and nothing more.
And that gets harder and harder, because as you watch things develop and grow, doesn't it seem like they require more and more just for you to be on there? It's like, but it's a free site. But we want your birthday. Who do you work for? What did you pay for taxes last year? Give us your email. We want a backup. We're going to send you a text message and give us a backup number to text message if we can't get hold of the first one. How many computers do you have? They're all being tracked. Here's a list of everywhere you've signed in.
Yes, welcome to 1984, boys and girls. Sit down, take a seat, and do what Big Brother tells you. With a smile on your face.
Have a wrench. Bam, wrenched you on the head. Hope it didn't hurt.
And it's a case which I know it sounds like tinfoil hatty, but you and I, being tech guys, saw it coming a mile away.
Yeah. And know that back in the days when I first started on the internet, I knew this was coming. And my handles were things that were really stupid or off the wall. And my information was maybe the stupid name off the cover of a book, or I'm Friday October. You know, you put in stupid things because you know that if you put in real information, all of a sudden they know who you are. I don't want you knowing who I am. If I wanted you knowing who I am, I would meet you in public. I want to be on the internet. I want to be anonymous. I want to talk shit. Maybe I want to talk real. But I don't want what I say coming back at me in a bad way either.
And this is the funny thing, because they're giving people like Mr. Medicare crap for staying anonymous. He said he don't want to meet his fans, and well, why don't you want to meet your fans? Why don't you want to go? Because I work on my job is the internet. My job is to make fun of furries on the internet. I want to stay anonymous. What's wrong with it? That's what the internet was made for, is to be anonymous and have fun.
Yeah, it was really just made as a way to connect to people who you weren't next to be able to get information from around the world. And now it's not just information. Now it's a way to just link stupidity as quick as you can. Oh, check out this stupid thing I saw. Yeah, that looks pretty stupid. Bet you I can do something stupider.
Oh, God, yeah, with the Tide Pod Challenge.
The by the way,
since
you said Tide Pod Challenge, I ask everybody, please refer to the lower right-hand corner of your screen where you will notice the final Last Supper.
Oh, man, yeah.
Because who doesn't like Tide Pods and bleach? Really?
Oh, yeah, I saw that on Twitter, what you posted. Oh, man, that's so wrong, but so funny.
I don't remember how I came to that idea. We were just hanging out last night. I was like, you know what sounds... Somebody said Tide Pods, and I was like, you know what sounds funny? The Last Supper would be Tide Pods and bleach. I'm memeing that.
You wouldn't be the first, because Teal Deer, when he does his streams, he'd be like, he's always like, make sure you have your bottle of bleach ready.
Well, I made sure there was one Tide Pod on the table, big enough so as he reaches out, it looks like he's actually reaching out to grab the Tide Pod, because you know he needs it.
And he sits there and takes sips, acting like he's sipping the bleach.
Yeah.
And in the stream. Oh, man.
Oh, why didn't I think of that? Come on. We are back at the board. We have time and a goal to get one more topic out of the way. What would you like that to be?
Okay. Controversy.
Oh, you know what? I have to say this is the hardest one I had to write today. I sat there and stared at it for a while. So here we go. Should countries be responsible to support foreign causes they believe in land that isn't within their nation?
No. A country should only be responsible for what's on their soil.
Now, obviously, we are not going to discuss unions as controlling the countries for those unions and whatnots involved. Most of which
And
Britain
well,
is
I'm
in the
I'm
middle of.
talking about it through all aspects, even humanitarian, because I'm sitting here and it just irks me where we're seeing send money to these people in Africa, send money to Israel, and I'm sitting here and I look to my father while I'm cooking dinner or doing whatever, and I'm going, why are we doing this when we've got starving homeless people, starving homeless vets here in our on our soil? Why don't we fix the stuff in our country before we start worrying about any other country?
And I perfectly agree. And there's been a huge controversy from the end of last week through the weekend on news shows, and I've been trying to catch up with it. And I'm sorry I can't read 1,200 pages, I think it is. 1,200-page tax bill for the United States. That's fucking impressive. Maybe it shouldn't be that long. And a good problem is maybe it's that long because apparently we give money to other countries for things, I could be wrong, could misspeak, things as stupid as protecting another country's borders. But we don't give enough to our own country to financially protect our borders, and we put limits on our ability to use it for certain things. Cool. Then
Yeah.
let's send some money to get women's rights in other countries. No problem with women's rights. Why do they need $10 million? In a country we're fighting.
Yeah, I find it interesting where we're sending money and aid to countries that openly say they want us dead.
Yes. I tell
Saudi
you what,
Arabia.
if it comes up on the news that there are government funds going to North Korea, really, if that comes out that we're sending funds to places like North Korea or Russia, oh wait, we already sent them all of our yellow cake material? Oh no, they shouldn't need any money. They're good. I'm
And
globalism. There it is. AW. Globalism can't happen till we all stop fighting. All of us. Okay. But you know what? The best way to stop fighting is to take care of your own, not everybody else. If you can get your own country under control and stop fighting, and your country's not all riled up over something, then the next country can do that for themselves. Then you guys can get along from there. There is no reason to be interrelated country by country. We shouldn't be funding other countries to be nice.
no, we should. Well, I can say, yeah, giving support to countries once you fix what's wrong in your country first. Period. Once you handled your starving people, once you've handled the homelessness, once you've handled the civil rights issues, the women's rights issues, the men's rights issues, then once all that's dealt with, then you can move on to another country and give them a little helping hand and help them get to where you're at. And then once they've gotten there, then you two work together and move on to the next country, and by then everybody's at at eye level and it's taken care of.
So let's try to add some stupid analogy. Let's imagine there's two people that both work jobs, and one wants to
Yeah.
help the other out by saying, "Okay, I want to help you out. I'm going to give you $10 a month. Could you just make sure you mow my lawn?" Okay? So that's a fair arrangement. That's
Yeah.
not what we're doing. What we're doing is, hey, I want to help you out. I want to see good things happen. Here's money to make it happen. That's it. Did it happen? Oh, we don't care. We just gave them the money to try. Well, what was the outcome? We don't know. Did you do anything? Not sure. Maybe. We gave them a bunch of money. Hopefully it'll help. What is that doing?
Yeah, it's funny because when a countries get hit by a natural disaster, they expect us to go in and help them out, and if we don't give enough funding, we get a lot of shit for it. But if we get hit by a natural disaster, there's only a couple of countries that's willing to help us out. If any country helps us out, it's America. Whatever happens, happens.
Okay, so that person handing out the money is now living in a house that is breaking, splinters coming up from the floor, cracks up the walls. The steps aren't holding together quite right. Should we still be offering the money?
No.
So, Bronner threw this in there, I think, yeah. But all individuals using their own money, not borrowing it from someone else or giving it to their neighbor. If they were borrowing it, that would seem feasible if we thought we were getting it back. If we were giving the money of our own accord for something that we didn't have a problem with. So, if we're sending money to another country for their drug problem, but we have a drug problem, where's the logic in that? Shouldn't we fix ours before we say we're adequate to help another?
Yeah.
Maybe my analogy sucked, but still, what Kumite fundraising? Are they raising money? No. This is literally about the United States government plan sending out $500 billion worth of taxpayer money to other countries to fund their improvements where we're still in deficit. So let's fund somebody else's border wall, but not our own. Let's fund somebody else's drug problem, but not our own. Let's fund somebody else's government problem, but not pay off our own debt.
Since we're talking about border wall, I find this interesting. Israel has a border wall. No one hardly bats an eye about it. Mexico has a southern border wall. Nobody really bats an eye. America wants a border wall. They're bigoted, racist. They hate all minorities, and they want to ship them back overseas. And we're just trying to protect our country from illegals.
Shouldn't we have a decision in countries in which we allow their people into our country? No. Once we allow their people into our country, they're our people.
Yeah.
Pending that we allow them. So let's also take this into account. Could we handle the abundance of people trying to get here if we weren't funding other countries?
Yeah, we could.
Think of all that extra money that we're literally just dumping out of our country and then going, well, we don't have money for our national debt. Let's give away $500 billion, but the national debt will hit $20 trillion this year, or just past $20 trillion. I'm not even looking. It's 20, somewhere around there. Seriously. Yes, Mexico is one of the heaviest patrolled in the world, but the patrol isn't enough. The wall probably isn't going to be enough. I think the problem is that, you know what? I don't even know if I can think of what the problem is. There's so many of them. How do you narrow it down? How do you try and isolate that one problem that will help you sit and go, you know, you're right. That $10 million we sent to Zimbabwe, we could have actually put that down to help support and flourish these towns so that people don't need Mexicans to come over.
Yeah,
we may not need a wall. We may just have to disincentivize people being okay with the Mexicans coming. Am I saying the Mexicans are bad? No.
No.
What I'm saying is, if you have jobs and you can afford to give it to somebody local, then you're going to give it to somebody local before you give it to somebody foreign. The reason they want to give jobs to the foreign people is because they'll take less money. So find a way for our country to somewhat lightly reorganize and incentivize employing our own people. And then, if people want to come to get employed, they have to become our people. Thank you, California, for screwing that all up.
Yeah. It's a case of, we need to make it, give, like you said, incentives for people to hire American citizens. They don't give any incentive. Many states, well, California is one of the states. Quite a few of the border towns, they don't give incentives to hire American citizens. So, what's happening? What are they going to do? They're hiring people that'll do it for less money.
Yes, Data, money doesn't exist. Money is a social construct.
Hey, cool. Well, hey, cool. Well, next time you need next month when you need to pay for that light bill, just go to the place where you pay your light bills and go. Money's a social construct. You don't
have
need
any, so you don't get any.
you don't need that $300, maybe $500 a month.
Yeah, that is the case in a lot of places, isn't it? With that being said, that'll be our topic for the day. Here we are at just over 58 minutes. Let's stop and just have a little chat with the chat before we say our goodbyes. A&W, I want to welcome you. I hope you did enjoy today's show. If you do happen to find a way to get on, I'd be happy to have anybody. That's how that goes. I wasn't arguing. I was just saying Mexico is fine with border walls. No, absolutely. You know what it is, and I know you're slightly new here, Argo Gargoyle, Mr. Gargoyle, Mr. or Mrs. Gargoyle. I apologize. No, don't want to misgender people inappropriately. Gargoyle. This is a show about perspective. The point is, I'm not going to say anything you say is right or wrong, unless it's something that contradicts facts, in which case sometimes even I do, and feel free to correct me. What it is every person looks at every situation differently based on their perspective. And that's what this show does, is it takes the person and their perspective and their viewpoint into account instead of just the facts of the situation. But yeah, I do like throwing some facts in there when I can. It's about starting a conversation because there are conversations to be had. And it's not always about the conversation being a heated battle of the facts and the figures. Sometimes it's about how do you see things and realizing that other people see things different.
Yep. And hey, yeah, that's the good thing about this show. He sees things as a matter of perspective. Everyone has a different perspective. And as long as you're not blatantly lying or blatantly wrong, he'll just sit back and go, okay, I see your point.
And we'll discuss that point. And we'll offer you contradictions, and we'll offer you equalization. We'll look at it in any way we can think to look at it, because that's what it's about. When you're having a conversation, when you're debating a topic, it's about how can you look at it, in what ways can you make this easy for everybody to understand. I'm always wrong even when... How does that song go? You're always wrong. You know you're wrong. Something. How does that go? But you could be right. Yeah, I don't need to sing. I do have Google Hangouts. You just gotta let me know. Yeah, you can get hold of me on Google Plus. There you go. I'll check my Google Plus. Look for me. I don't know if Google Plus is programmed in here. Type Google.
Yeah, due to whatever's been going on with Google Hangouts, I had to reinstall Google just for the purpose of Google Hangouts. Because it seems like Mozilla and Google don't get along.
No, they don't. They do not. And if you run the two of them at the same time, they consume your processor.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, I'm also off to failure in the morning, Lacey. Thank you for reminding me. And we are over the hour. I like to have a 1 hour show. Makes it easy to catch it in 2x speed if you want to watch it later. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. If you haven't already and you think it's appropriate, there is a up thumb button. If you also think it's appropriate, there's a down thumb. There's a share, which is always welcome. There's a bell, which YouTube says does nothing. So that one's up to you. With that said... Hey everybody, you guys all have a great day, and I will hopefully see you all here tomorrow.